Hi everyone, Bandanner here. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first of 2 dev blogs this week for WARNO. So Eugen said they're going to be releasing 2 a week for NORTHAG now to introduce the new DLC slash larger expansion DLC really. As it's not just about a couple of divisions, it's also got 2 new army general campaigns, 4 new operations, 4 new maps and 10 new battle groups in total, or 10 new divisions. The plan, Eugen say, is to first run through dev blogs of the new divisions, and today we're taking a look at the Belgian 16th Pantserdivisie. I'm not going to call it that because Panzer reminds me of pantsing, which is an American thing where people pull down other people's pants. Yes, only the Americans could think that up. As a result, we'll stick to calling it the 16th Armoured Division. Okay, let's get into it. The Belgians are not completely new to WARNO, obviously, having been featured in both the base game's Army General campaigns, represented in existing NATO battle groups, in the West German 2nd Panzergrenadier Division, for example. But first up, they have a bit of a history lesson for us. If you wish to skip that bit, do just jump ahead in the video. I'll put a chapter in if I remember. After World War II, the Belgian armed forces were in shambles, joining NATO as one of the founding members in 1948. The Belgians, while teaming up with Luxembourg, managed to provide the United Nations fighting in the Korean War with an infantry battalion in 1950. The next year, it established the 1st Corps for deployment in West Germany. This corps was made up of 2 active divisions, the 1ER Division de Infantry and the 16DE Pantserdivisie. And the reason I bothered to say it in the French/Dutch is because they want to note that, as you can already tell, the bilingual approach to naming the divisions, French and Dutch, stems from 2 different regions and languages in the country, Dutch-speaking Flanders and French-speaking Wallonia. No idea if I pronounced that right. Anyhow, despite their names, both were actually mechanized infantry formations. Wait, what? So what you're actually telling me, Eugen, is their naming conventions mean jack shit. Eugen, in their article, have posted some cartoons from a Belgian artist, Jean-Paul van der Bock's postcard collection about Cold War Belgian armed forces in Germany, which were very popular back in the time. Sadly, these are likely heavily copyrighted, so I can't really post them in the video, I'm afraid. Often I can get away with just attributing things, but when it's a proper artist like this, usually you have to buy a license. Anyhow, during the Cold War, Belgium's commitment to NATO never faltered, though the number of troops on German soil was gradually reduced. Only 2 active brigades from the 16th Armoured Division and 3 Recon battalions remained in 1989. These would be among the first to see action in our alternative World War III scenario. The Belgian contingent was considered as one of the weakest of the NATO forces deployed in West Germany. British NORTHAG Command kept at least 1 armoured brigade from the 3rd Armoured Division close by as reinforcements, as depicted in our Army General campaigns. One of the reasons for this perceived weakness was the quality and age of the equipment. The Belgian army entered in the 1980s with material dating back from the 1960s, if not from before that as well, such as the M75, the AMX-13 VCI APCs, early Leopard 1 BEs, the World War II era M1 8-inch howitzers, and the M108 self-propelled guns, etc. Not all was dire, however, as the Belgian government had finally acquiesced to investments in new equipment, leading to a partial modernisation by the 1980s with new units such as the F-16, the AIFV, the Mistral and the Gepard. Okay, history lesson over. What is the 16th Armoured Division going to be like in the game? While not all the issues were solved, the mix of old weapons and brand new stuff gives the Belgian Army's division its special identity. Let's take a closer look at some of the toys available for the division. By the end of the 1980s, Belgian mechanized infantry rode into battle on shiny new AIFV family of APCs and IFVs. This particular vehicle is a major armour and firepower upgrade of the venerable M113. While not accepted into service by the US Army, who favoured the Bradley, the AIFV did find purchase in Belgian and Dutch armies. The AIFV is faster, sturdier and better armed and equipped with smoke launchers while still retaining its amphibious capability. It can be considered a step up compared to most other APCs. The AIFV comes in many different variants, Command APC with a 50 cal and even an IFV version with a Milan, or indeed replacing the machine gun with 25mm turret mounted autocannon, a poor man's Bradley they call it. Turning our attention to small arms, the Belgian foot soldiers' primary infantry weapon was the FM FNC This was an FN FAL variant. This is, of course, a very successful Belgian battle rifle, aka the right arm of the free world, produced under license by many other countries, including the UK as the SLR and the Netherlands, etc. While Belgium's own arms manufacturer, Fabrique Nationale Herstel, or FN Herstel, also designed the equally successful FN Mini-Me, also known as the American M249. For a long time, the Belgian army couldn't afford it and stuck with the earlier FALO magazine-fed LMG variant of the FN FAL and the heavier FN MAG, also a Belgian design. I'm not a big military buff, so I find this quite interesting to know that actually the Belgians made all of this stuff. Some SMGs were used by combat engineers, military police and other territorial units. These were either the Uzi or the domestic-made PM Vigneron? I think that's how it's pronounced. Squad anti-tank weapons are the M72A1 Law, an older version of the one currently in game, or the RL83 Blinderside itself, slightly better than the M72A3 Law. So now we get a look at what is in each of the actual tabs. So in logistics, the logistics arm of the Mechanized Division will be pretty standard, following other NATO divisions of the same kind. This means the usual FOB and the MAN Z311 medium and the Volvo N10 heavy supply trucks, the latter among NATO's heaviest. No supply helicopter though. Command vehicles include the Iltis PC Jeep, the Sultan, and the AIFV BPC. Over in the infantry tab, as mentioned before, most of the Belgian infantry, as mech fusiliers, will ride into battle on AIFVs. These soldiers are backed by Belgian reservists in the M113 with the disheartened trait, plus pioneers transportable in the AMX-13 VCI. Prevo Team Military Police will also be available. Infantry support weapons include the MAG 7.62mm and the M2HB 12.7mm heavy machine gun, as well as the Milan 1 and a handful of Milan 2 ATGM teams. Over in the artillery tab, it's going to be pretty average. All the artillery guns available were embedded in brigades, meaning no centralized divisional heavy artillery. Units that you'll be able to deploy are the M252 81mm mortars, the M30 107mm mortars, and the M109A2 155mm self-propelled guns. In terms of the tanks, tank support will be in the form of the Leo 1BE, which is an older variant of the venerable Leopard tank, but it has upgraded domestic-made optics and fire control systems. These tanks fire at the full 2275 meters with good accuracy, though fragile in their armor deposition. And though not available in real life in 1989, we have March to War, in quotation marks, an advanced one single card of the Leo 1A5BE, which was an upgrade in development at the time. This tank is the same glass cannon, being more accurate, especially on the move, with +1 AP, courtesy of the Sabaka 105mm ammo being developed. The anti-tank weapons will include the Iltis Milan, a CRV-T Striker, and the old JPK-90, which is nothing more than a West German-built Cannon Jagdpanzer. In Belgian service, this latter unit will be a regular unit, so non-reservist. So over in the Recon tab, the 16th Armoured Division wasn't the sole Belgian unit in West Germany. 3 cavalry regiments would have provided forward screening, behind which the 1st Corps would deploy in case of war. This is when the division can count on a solid reconnaissance tab. Outside the British Army, the Belgians were the most prolific users of the CRV-T, so many of this vehicle family were present. In fact, they could equip 3 recon regiments, several smaller recon units, and even give 1 airborne tank squadron to its commando regiment, plus a host of reserve formations to boot. Expect to see the Scorpion and Scimitar Recon tanks, plus the Spartan Recon APCs. The Eclairs squad you should already be familiar with the inclusion in the West German 2nd Panzer Grenadier Division. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, but it just reminds me of Eclairs. Anyhow, the division can also count on ESR Special Forces, either as a 2-man sniper squad or a larger 6-man recon squad, the only Belgian squads equipped with the Mini-Me machine gun. Aerial recon is provided by the good old Alouette 2, and a UAV in the form of the Epivir. Over in the anti-air tab, the air defense will be provided by the M167A1 Vulcan 20mm Gatling guns and the Gepard B2, together with a handful of the Mistral. Another unique unit is converting of the MAN Z311 truck with the M55 Maxton Quad 50mm heavy machine guns mounted. Over in the helicopter tab, in real life the Royal Belgian Army did not have any dedicated attack helicopters. Actually, no real helicopters save for liaison duties, meaning basically just the nimble Alouette 2. In 1987, the country ordered A109 helicopters from Augusta, which, due to the widely reported embezzlement scandal, were only delivered in the early 1990s. As part of our 2-year march to war, this account and corruption scandal will be swept under the rug for the time being. As such, UGen have given Belgium a handful of cards of anti-tank A109HAs, as well as a few Special Forces transports. The division's limited helicopter slots will be very expensive, however. Over in the air tab, as already teased in Bundeswehr's 2nd Panzergrenadier Division, the Belgian Air Force will be a mix of Mirage 5BA in various close support loadouts, HE, Napalm, rockets and cluster, and the F-16A in an air superiority or bomb truck variant. One extra addition is the Mirage 5BA Mersip, a fighter upgrade, originally initiated in 1988 and delivered during the early 1990s. Now, there is a little bit more. The Luxembourg contingent. UGen say they have saved the best for last. Much like the Korean War in the 1950s, Belgium wouldn't go to war without its military powerhouse cousin, Luxembourg. As a NATO founding member, despite being very little, the small country always maintained troops ready for service. In 1989, it could muster a light infantry battalion, very recently and entirely and lavishly equipped with American material. The formation was very light as it was intended to be air mobile, even partially airdroppable. At least one company was permanently attached to NATO's ACE mobile force for airborne deployment in Norway. That's not for now though. Hint hint. Anyhow, the rest of the battalion was to be subordinated to the 1st Belgian Corps. This means that as part of the 16th Armoured Division, on top of the units previously described, you'll also get to play with Luxembourg Infantry, which will be dressed as the archetypal American soldier, save for the shoulder patches and occasional beret. Following the Belgian example, they will field the FN FAL and MAG small arms with a few Carl Gustav recoilless rifles. What makes Luxembourg units extra special is that they receive the airborne trait, but no shock or extra veterancy. In other words, they get forward deployment. This represents their very light footprint. The only exception is the artillery, which will be airliftable if you can source a helicopter heavy enough. The following units will be provided, none coming in more than one card of each. These include the M1025 Humvee Command, Eclairs with the M1025 Humvee, or the Recon M1025 Humvee with a heavy machine gun, the M2HB, as well as the M1025 Humvee TOW 2, the M252 80mm mortar, the M118 105mm howitzer, the M2HB weapons teams, and Fusilier squads in both command and regular variants. I think what Eugen's getting at is that Luxembourg is an excuse to have some American hardware in this division. They go on to say that the 16th Armoured Division will play as a strong mechanised infantry battle group with powerful APC and AIFV support, glass cannon tanks, mediocre supporting arms, and a sprinkling of helicopters. However, air will be potent and further backed by good recon, Luxembourg's fighting finest, and the forward deploying recon units. And that's everything for this devblog. Later in the week, we'll be taking our look at the Soviet 25th Tank Division. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching everyone, enjoy your week, and I'll see you all soon.